Hello friends, my name is Phani Kiran. I belong to the 2020 batch Indian Trade Service. I cleared the 2019 UPSC exam with 698 rank. My optional is history. Today I'm here with you to share my strategy on prelims. Before we start, a brief intro about myself. I'm from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh, post which I'm an engineer like most of you all. And I started my UPSC preparation in 2014 and I cleared it in my 5th attempt. So let's go straight into the questions that were asked by some of the friends on the group. First is like to share something about my journey. In 2014, by then I was already having a 3-year work experience, and I have saved up some money, and then I started my preparation. I came to Delhi. I took coaching. Today I will limit myself to prelims, so I won't go deep into the other aspects of civil services examination. So I'll start with one by one each question, and we'll see how like any other questions are there. You can always put across through the group. My experience regarding prelims. Since prelims is a more objective examination, and we need to have a breadth of understanding of the subject. We don't have to go deeper into the subject, but rather know something about everything in the syllabus. So you can understand, like, you need to have a very horizontal coverage of different topics, be it polity, science and technology, geography, history, or whatever it is. You need to know everything. You need to know something about everything. So that should be the basic strategy for prelims. You don't have to memorize facts too much, but rather try to, for the same topic, try to cover as much as sources possible, so that we'll remember things without even trying to memorize them. And these days, UPSC is asking questions that are not like purely facts based, also application of mind type questions. That's where test series would help you. More about that in my later questions, but we'll go step by step. Right. So my approach and strategy for aspirants with respect to prelims. So like I always maintain that prelims is like a test match. And you need to leave some good balls, and you should cash in on a bad ball that comes across. You need to hit it for the boundary. On the other hand, mains is like a T20 match. You need to score every ball and try to hit it for a 6. Because it sounds counterintuitive, because prelims is a shorter format of the exam, so don't play it like a T20. That is my strategy. Play it like a test match. You have ample time. Time is not a constraint in prelims. Try to understand the questions, and don't try to attempt more number of questions, so that it might work for some people. It never worked for me, and I would rather suggest that you improve the accuracy of your attempt rather than attempting 90-95 questions. Stick to like 75 questions and increase 75 to 80 questions, and improve your accuracy to 75%. So that would get you through. If you score more than 100, you are through in prelims these days. So given the toughness of the paper in prelims, my strategy since like 2017-18 was to always go for accuracy, more answering the questions only if I know them. I would never take a fluke. If I'm doubtful about the answer between two options, I would never take a fluke. I would rather leave the question. So despite that, I would be able to attempt like 75 to 80 questions, and like even if I get 60 questions correct and 20 wrong, I would still get through the examination in prelims. In fact, this strategy worked for me so well that I could even clear forest service on most of my attempts. So that is my overall strategy for prelims. And yes, now I'll discuss more on how to, at the micro level, in a more detailed level, how do you attempt the prelims examination once you are in the exam hall. So once you get the question paper, uh, I would do 3 rounds of answering. In the first round, the questions for which you are like sure about the answers, like you are absolutely sure, even if somebody wakes you up in the middle of 2 a.m. in the morning, you would be able to answer those questions. If you know for a question an answer like that, like you are definitely sure about that answer, those kind of questions you attempt in the first round. So these questions, like out of 100 questions, you might, it varies to person. If you're sure about it and if it's an easy paper, you would probably in the first round itself will cover as many as like 30-40 questions. But if it's a tough paper, like these days it is usually a tough paper, you'll probably not go more than 20 questions in this first round. So this would take probably like half an hour of your time, half an hour to maximum 45 minutes. But then the second round is the most important round, where you need to kind of like think over the question, eliminate some options, uh, like do some like some questions and answers you can find, or like get a hint from the other questions in the paper. So it is important that in the first round you cover the entire paper once, so that in the second round you'll get better ideas, and by the second round your mind also settles down. The nerves of going into the examination hall, everything will be settling down. So whatever questions where you need an application of mind, keep it in the second round. For this, you keep at least like 45 minutes to 1 hour you keep for this. In this, you need to kind of since you cleared like around 15 to 20 in the first round, you'll probably have to attempt only like 40 to 50 questions in this round. And in this round, you need to apply your mind, do elimination, use whatever memorization, revision techniques that you have used in preparation. That will come for your help. And once you are able to finish 2 rounds, in the last round, make sure that you don't attempt too many questions in the last round, because people obviously, like after 2 rounds, if you are unable to cross like say 60 questions, people out of sheer anxiety and nervousness will start attempting all the flukes and they lose out. So that, like, even if you have after 2 rounds, even if you have attempted only 20 questions, keep calm. Maybe the paper is tough. If it is tough for you after 1 year of preparation, it is tough for 90% of the people in the examination. So keep confidence in yourself. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, just attempt questions like in a more defensive manner. If you don't know the answer and if your gut feeling says you are not sure about it, don't attempt the question. Don't push it to 80, 90. Maximum to 70 you can push. And on a good day, and if the paper is easy, you can push it to 80. But if it's a tough paper, respect the paper and leave it at 70, 75. So that is for 3 rounds of prelims answering. Now, some rookie mistakes that people do is first answer the questions in the question paper and put the OMR at the end of the paper. This is a rookie blunder that totally you should avoid. You should always fill the OMR sheet parallel to answering of each question. I have known friends who have could easily clear the prelims but couldn't, because they just couldn't fill the OMR sheet. So this is something that we should, everybody should avoid. If it is if it's a practice that you follow, immediately stop that. And for CSAT again, when I started in 2014, the paper used to be relatively easy. The standard of the paper has become very tough. Going from 2014 to 21, the paper has become really tough. And for CSAT, so if you're an engineer, you'd obviously be good with the aptitude part of it. But for the English part, English and this reasoning part, you will need to do some practice. Do it in such a way that you do it when you are bored with reading for general studies. Keep some time out for practicing CSAT. So that will be a change of subject for your mind, and you will be able to do better in CSAT. And also you won't feel CSAT as a tough subject, because your mind is dealing with subjects like geography, polity, history, and all, economics. For a change of mind, you are reading English and math. That would be a good change of subject for your mind. It will be relaxing and enjoyable also. And of course, you need to attempt some test series also for that, to kind of hone your skills and time management and see where you stand in the group. So we'll go to the next question. So before we go to the test series, there were a few questions about some do's and don'ts, which I have already shared. But if somebody asks me what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to syllabus, is the orientation for prelims should be like not the same as mains. You need to have a different orientation altogether. You need to focus on facts and the reasoning behind it. Like you need to know, like if I take history, you need to know the sequence of events, that is the chronology of who came after who, and also the geographical spread of events. Say like someone like Vijayanagara was in the south, Nahums were in the Assam, Parmars were in central India. These kind of like a mental picture of different kingdoms across the spread of India, and also time spread of different events across India. This you will get. If you read history like 2-3 times, you will probably get that idea. I'm taking an example of history. Similar is the case with geography also. So you need to kind of, if you don't know the answer for something, like they might ask a question about some poet working, like say the 9 jewels of Vijayanagara Empire and all, something like that you read in during preparation time. And like the question comes about Vijayanagara Empire, and they mention if this poet belongs to Vijayanagara period or not. You don't have to remember the person's name, but like if you have read it, it would strike you. But if you have if you have read it and they are asking it, probably that means that is not the correct answer. So that way you can eliminate some options. Okay, I'm pretty sure that like in Vijayanagara Empire, these were the poets. This poet I have never heard of. Like that way can, if none of the other options also suit your question, you can eliminate that. So that kind of an elimination you can do, an intelligent guessing you can call it, but it's not a blind fluke again. You need to if you are aware of the chronology of events and the geographical spread of the events, you can eliminate several questions in geography or in history. Similarly, in economics also, if you are clear with concepts like monetary policy and fiscal policy, what does RBI do and what does the Ministry of Finance do? Some questions you can answer by sheer virtue of knowing that, okay, I don't know about this, but I know definitely that Finance Ministry doesn't have much role in monetary policy. So there will be questions like, if the current account deficit is rising, so this can be countered through monetary policy or fiscal policy. These kind of questions you can answer when you know, okay, this is the role of RBI and this is the role of the Finance Ministry or the fiscal policies. So that's how you do elimination of things. So that's the do's of prelims is that you need to know the basics of all the subjects. Everybody will start with NCERT. Once you finish with NCERT, you can continue with any for geography people such as GC Leong. And I have taken coaching in Wajiram, so I stuck to my Wajiram material for geography and for polity. People can read Lakshmikant. I have never read Lakshmikant in my life, but I have followed Wajiram's yellow book material and also Ravindran sir's notes for polity. So each one has their own strategy. There is no hard and fast rules on that. You can cover the basic sources first. That is NCERT. NCERT is a must. I have read from 6th to 12th, depending on because I am from a state syllabus board. I decided to read from 6th to 12th. If you have already covered CBSE in your 10th, you can probably read from 10th to 12th. And after NCERT, you can go for any of these materials or any of the materials you can get in the market. Also, you can buy and read. Only if you are uncomfortable or if you are unable to answer questions from that subject. For science and technology and all, you can get that information from these current affairs magazines that are available again. And for economics, the economic survey is a must. And apart from that, the budget document is a must. And for history, I didn't read anything separately because that was my optional. For geography, I followed NCERT and Manocha sir's notes from Wajiram. And what other subjects are there in this prelims? So, environment and ecology, we used to read Shankar's, but off late I don't think if that book is still relevant anymore, because I don't see that book as much useful when it comes to the kind of question that UPSC is asking. Not much is being covered from Shankar's. I suggest that whatever science and technology and environment portion that comes in the current affairs magazine, that can be used to cover that part of the syllabus. And don'ts is, like I've already shared, always uh, answer the question immediately once you know. Don't keep the OMR filling at the end of it. That's a major don't. Don't do that. And also, people obviously, like, they always have this mains orientation at the back of their mind, and like try to mm, prepare for mains and prelims together. It will work for most of the people, but if it doesn't work, I suggest that you first focus on prelims, focus on facts, and like try to kind of uh, try to finish off the syllabus first with an orientation to clear prelims. Once you clear the prelims, you can always, like, you'll have time to kind of rewind and try to change your approach to more subjective learning. So that is something that you can do in case you are left with no time. So in case you have less time, and if you want to clear prelims, you can do that strategy to first clear prelims. That also can be followed. And coming to the test series, well, I would suggest the candidates should take up tougher test series that won't let you score 140s, 150s in the test series. And what happens is, like, people who score, like, in the test series that we tried, and there are some test series in which we easily scored like 130, 140, and that has no close resemblance to what UPSC is asking. Like, UPSC papers, you'll never be able to score more than 110, 120 unless you are like exceptional. So based on that, we should take up, I feel, my personal journey has been that I take up tougher test series and I compare myself and how I am performing there, so that it prepares me from attempting too many fluke questions. The benefit of solving a tougher paper is, if you solve 90 questions in a tough paper, you'll probably end up getting 40, 50 marks. So that way your mind will be like, when the next time you give the paper, you'll be more careful in attempting your paper. Like I said, I play defensive in prelims, and I have, like, for me that strategy worked because I cleared 6 out of 6 prelims, and that with a very comfortable margin I cleared. That is because, like, I never attempt more than 80 questions. Depending on the paper, it varies between 70 to 80 questions, and my accuracy rate was more than like 75%. So that was my strategy. It worked for me for all the 6 times. It worked, and I even cleared forest service for 2 attempts. So that strategy worked for me, and if you feel that it works for you, you might use it. If you feel it doesn't work, you can go ahead and use whatever strategy that suits you. Some people use the strategy of like attempting 90, 95 questions, and they also clear the prelims. So whatever suits you, you are the better judge of that. There's no one way to clearing prelims, so you can do whatever that suits you. But for me, my test series was, I used to follow Vajiram test series again. I didn't join the test series. I would go and buy the tests from the market for 20 rupees. I would solve them and I would then compare my score with the Vajiram test result score and see whether I am the top 100, top 200 or not. And based on that, I would get an idea of like where I stand in the market. And so that helped, because in Vajiram test series, I would never score more than 90, 100 marks. And I would also attempt the main prelims of UPSC in such a like circumspect, skeptical manner. I would not take unnecessary risks in the paper, because I have prepared my mind and I have tuned it in such a way that, like, okay, the paper is tough and like I need to be very careful with attempting unnecessary questions. So that's how I have, like, tuned my mind to take up more tougher papers instead of, like, taking an easier paper and scoring 140, 150. That doesn't help anymore. Ever since like 2018, the UPSC papers have been really tough, and I don't think the cutoffs have crossed 100, 105, never more than that. The only exception was 2016 when the cutoff went as high as 116, I think. but after that year the cutoffs have like drastically come down. So if we look at the trend, the papers are getting tougher. So I advise the candidates to kind of like keep that in mind before choosing a strategy. And, coming to the next question, how important is current affairs, and suggest some strategies for the same. Again, this is if you are preparing for with prelims come mains preparation. If you have time for that, I would always suggest like you read newspapers, make your own short notes, and also read PIB editorials and also magazines, Yojana, and all these things. But if you don't have time, I would suggest like don't read newspapers. Just read the whatever summaries or summaries I used to read from Forum IAS, their editorial summaries and current affairs summaries, and then monthly magazines of Vision IAS I used to read. So that would cover my current affairs portion. But again, the trend has been that like not many questions are being directly asked from current affairs, be it prelims or mains. And again, last attempt was 2016 when prelims had a lot of current affairs portion. And after that, they have like every year they have been reducing the number of current affairs related questions. That is direct questions. There might be indirect questions. Excuse me. So current affairs is still a must because that will keep you abreast of the happenings in the country. Can't neglect it, but make sure that you don't spend too much time per day on current affairs, not more than like 2 hours. Excuse me. So current affairs is like given the kind of questions these days, don't spend more than 2 hours on current affairs, and that too. If you have time, you can go through the newspapers and summarize it yourself. But if you don't have time, you can go through the summaries of Forum IAS, or you can go through the magazines, monthly magazines, and finish off that current affairs portion. And is it necessary to solve test series? What number would you suggest? Test series is a must for prelims, I must say. I won't say you join a test series, but you solve the test series, you can get it from the market. But the number is totally irrelevant. You should solve it as long as you are in the top bracket. If you are not confident, and if you are not getting yourself in the top bracket, keep solving more and more test series. But again, like solve one test today and give a 1 week break so that you study and improve on some things, and then give another test series. If you don't do that, then like if you're continuously giving 40-50 tests, like giving them with a 2-day break or a 3-day break, there won't be any perceptible improvement in your performance. Give it a 1 week time, prepare properly, and give a test series seriously, and then you will see that there will be an improvement in your performance in test series. And 1 week before the prelims, do not give any test series. Whatever test series you have given, revise them. 1 week before prelims, the most important thing is confidence, not your knowledge. Because on the day of the exam, you will need to approach the exam hall and exam paper in a more confident and calm manner. If you solve a paper 2 days before prelims and if you have a bad score, your confidence takes a nosedive, and you will not be performing well in the exam. So 1 week before the prelims, do not attempt any papers. Just revise whatever you have attempted. I wouldn't suggest any number on how many test series you have to solve, but I must say that like you solve test series till you get into that confidence zone. Like you are confident that that score would be a very good score in prelims, and you are in the top top 300, 400 of whatever test series you are writing. If it is being attempted by at least more than 5,000 people should be writing the test series, and if you are in the top 300 or something, then you can be confident that you will be doing well. So keep that in mind. And number of test series doesn't matter. You should always even if you solve 5 tests, if you are performing in such a way that you are always in the top 10% or 5%, then you can be confident. Okay, test series is not the issue. For me, just you have to revise and then go to the exam confidently. That is more important. Revision strategies. like again, whenever I used to read whatever book, NCRTs or materials, I would highlight the important portions, and before prelims, I would revise them. Before writing a test series, I would revise them once, and before going for the prelims, I would revise it once more. So total, I would revise a topic 2 times before going to prelims. But current affairs and all, I don't think you will get that much time to revise the entire current affairs 2 times. Try and given the kind of questions that are coming these days, revise the static portion 2 times. Current affairs, try and revise it once. That should do. Because again, current affairs, you are taking a big gamble. If you are spending too much time on current affairs, you are like losing out on your static portion. So at no point in time did I see that like UPSC asked current affairs more than 40% of the questions. So like 60% is static. So you divide your time accordingly. And these days the static portion is almost 80 to 90%. So divide that much portion of your time in a day to static portion. So revise the static portion more in the current affairs 1 time. That's enough. How important is CSAT and how to go about it? Like I already mentioned, CSAT is, if you are an engineer, you should take it as a more like a relaxation from your regular general studies, but try to finish it within the time. Like out of the 80 questions, you try to solve at least 60 questions in your tests, or when you're solving it at home. So that will give you confidence, and the more you solve the English comprehension passages and all, that much more confidence you will get. There is no like shortcut for it. You need to, like, nobody is born speaking in like good English, or like it's like nobody is born understanding English. English is not even our first language. But like you have to read, and you will get there eventually. If you are reading newspapers and all, you'll eventually get there. But comprehension passages and all, you need to do in a short time-bound manner. So you need to practice in an exam setting also. So again, buy the test series from the market for 10-20 rupees and keep solving them whenever you feel bored about general studies. Like at least once in a week you solve a paper if you're not comfortable with it. And if you're comfortable with it and you're scoring consistently more than 100, then you can reduce the frequency of writing CSAT test papers also. That can also be done. And what is the role of mentoring and right guidance in prelims preparation? It is very important actually. Mentoring can make or mar one's preparation, because the wrong guidance would see, everybody has a very limited amount of time to give for the exam. A wrong guidance would put you in a wrong path that would waste your valuable time on things that are not totally required. There was this attempt when they asked some questions on art and culture, and the next attempt everybody started buying art and culture, Nitin Singhania book, and we're spending huge amounts of time on art and culture, when art and culture was not directly in the syllabus of prelims. It was only in the syllabus of mains. But whatever questions came was out of the history portion of prelims. So that orientation was lost. Like candidates started reading big books on art and culture for prelims, and that would take a lot of time, to be honest, and the returns on that investment would not be very much. Like the next year, the art and culture questions were barely 3 or 4 questions. So that time was valuable, and that was lost. Instead, when preparing history, when preparing for history, candidates should also cover the art society part of that history portion, so that whatever art and culture that's linked to the history part will be clear. So like that, there is a syllabus for prelims. Stick to the syllabus. Don't waste your time on anything else. And a mentor would also help you on your strategy to how to approach the prelims exam. Like I said, you should know what strategy fits you well, suits you. If your strategy is accuracy oriented, limit yourself to 70-80 questions in prelims. But if your strong area is getting 90-95 questions, and having a good success rate of getting your flukes correct, intelligent guesses correct, then probably you can stick to that strategy. It is up to you. But if you can identify these strengths and weaknesses in yourself, that is well and good. Otherwise, you can approach a mentor and take their help in understanding how you are attempting the prelims paper, where you are going wrong, where you can go right, and what content improvement you have to do to answer the prelims paper better and all. A mentor can help you with that. So in that regard, I should thank Civils Daily also, for Civils Hub also for creating this wonderful opportunity, for giving mentoring to the candidates, from successful candidates who have gone through the same struggle of the UPSC exam. So people can benefit, the candidates should benefit from this initiative of Civils Hub as well. And last but not the least, one important advice you would like to share with the aspirants is to have a very positive outlook to life. Surround yourselves with people with a positive attitude and something who are optimistic people, because given the fact that out of the success rate in this exam is less than 1%, so for every one successful candidate you will probably find 99 failed candidates. Not every one of them will be a pessimist, but if you surround yourself more and more with people who couldn't clear the exam, your attitude and thinking process would gradually take that shift towards pessimism, and and you'll be more worried about why this is not happening, why UPSC is doing this, why is UPSC asking these kind of questions and all. But instead, you should always take it as a challenge. Have an optimistic approach to this exam. Focus on your physical health. That will automatically contribute to your mental health as well. Take good food and invest in yourself. Most of the candidates invest themselves in jogging, physical activity, yoga and all. I myself do yoga, and whatever suits you, any physical activity, your hobbies, sketching, drawing. People do a lot of things to kind of in creative pursuits while preparing. Whatever time you get, take your time off and pursue your hobbies. Not for too much time, but what for limited amount of time you can do that. To just keep yourself in high spirits and just enjoy the process and don't get disheartened. Failures come and go. I myself cleared it in my 5th attempt. It was very I must tell you, it will be very agonizing when you fail at the last stage of the exam, or at any stage of the exam. If you fail, it will be very